Apologies for the background music from my neighbor. He's a musician and he likes to play or jam a lot. So in a couple of days, I'm gonna go to an energetic session with a friend of mine, and it's called the Inner Womb Awakening, or the Hara Center Awakening. So if you have the center in the head, center in the heart, and then you have the center in the belly, right, where you're rooted. So I have done this before in February, and I wanted to make this video to just share my experience with it, and then have a new session now. It's June now, 11th of June, and then, just to see, to have it documented. And it's also the thing, like with my YouTube channel, the purpose of this channel is merely I want to document my own process, to see what I went through, to see what I did, what I didn't do, how it all unfolded. For me, it's very interesting. I love to see the transformation. I love to see the unfolding. I love to see those key points, those key realizations, those key insight, and see where it started to root or to spring. Or I love that. I love all those workings. So it was the 28th of February on 26, 27. And I had done a couple of cap sessions. I had actually done a cap session the day before, 2 days before, so I was energetically very open. And I had read about it, and honestly, in the past, I had been connected with my Hara for some time. I remember when I was at a period in time, it was in 2017, I had done the Bufo Alvarius experience. And after doing that, I was using a lot of meditations where you tune into certain frequencies and you embody certain frequencies. It's the Joe Dispenza meditations. Now, through those meditations, I was able to alter my state of consciousness and be in a certain state throughout the whole day. What this showed me was that by tuning into certain feelings, to certain potentials in the quantum field, you feel and you embody a certain kind of way of being, and then the thoughts and the actions would go from that. So it's like being and then doing, thinking and then doing or thinking, but it would be like that. Whereas normally we think, then we do, and then we be over time. We're being over time. And here it was differently. Now, during these meditations, I remember very vividly, there was a point where I connected to a state of being where there was a spaciousness, and I was just so centered, and I was just breathing, and there was no thinking or very little thinking. And by breathing into the belly, I would go to the root of the belly. So it would go to the point where the breath starts and it ends, to that point. And as soon as I breathe into that, an impulse would come, a movement would come, an idea would come, a flow would come to respond, to do. So whatever I was doing, I was just tuning into that and just breathing it in, and then allowing that impulse to come. So whenever a situation arose, whenever somebody asked me something, whenever I had to make decisions, I would just tune into that and allow that intelligence, that Hara intelligence, to give me the impulse. And I didn't know why. Or sometimes somebody would talk to me, I would just breathe in, and from that breathing, from that depth, words would start to come, and I would say things, but I didn't know how I knew them, or I didn't understand where they were coming from. I was just aligned to that and speaking from that. It was a very beautiful experience. I was so guided. I remember I was sitting at a bus stop, and I was listening to synchronistically also, because when you're in that, you have very synchronistically very synchronistic events all the time. So I was listening to you open up a podcast or whatever, and you scroll to the right second, You don't know why, but intuitively, and all of a sudden it talks exactly about this, or about the situation that you feel you need to know right now, and you feel inside like, whoa, like I'm so like guided or so aligned in the flow of my life. It's like there's like, yeah, it's just attunement, and you have the reflection of it. So I was in that period for quite a long time. It was beautiful, but then I stopped using that, and I didn't go that full anymore. And now I don't do it as often. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess it was just a phase or a period. Maybe I'll do it again. Who knows? So the inner womb awakening, Hara, they talk about that, to connect to that center where creation occurs. And it is a very creative center, like so much ideas. Like it's a 0 point. You feel it's like nothing's there. It's like a 0 point, but all of a sudden things just arise from there. It's beautiful because it's like, it's limitless. It's endless, endless inspiration. And you don't have to think. You don't have to analyze. You don't have to try. It's just there, like coming. So beautiful. So I went to the session because I was like, would be really interesting to have that. So I went, and before going in, she did some incense on me, cleaned my energy field, went in, and okay, everything I'm saying is my own subjective experience, right? Relative to me. We sat down, everybody like introduced themselves. There was like a stone that everybody was passing, and everybody was saying aho, aho, aho. And I didn't know why everybody was saying aho, but they did. And then they started to play some music. Said close your eyes. Music was being played, and they did like a guided meditation. I don't remember the meditation, but it was like a guided meditation. And through the meditation, we sang to our womb, to our belly, to our lower belly, to that pit, that place where it's like the root. And being there, like feeling that spaciousness, that openness, they invited us to make sounds, to just vibe, to make sounds. And it came so lightly. It was like starting like small sounds, small waves, like almost like an instrument, you know, like you play one note and then a couple of notes, and then all of a sudden there was a depth to it. And like I don't remember it exactly, but I remember for myself, I was like, like it was coming out so deeply, so purely. It was so full. It was a beautiful experience, and everybody was like humming, and just like that sound was coming out. It was so connecting, so harmonious. Everybody was just vibrating at that energy center, at that space. It felt, in my experience, it felt like coming home, or being home, or just like, yeah, being with family, being in a warmth, being together, being. And then she explained the process that she was about to do. So, three people. One person is sitting here, the other person sitting here, and one person lies in between, with the head to this person, and he's like taking the head and working with the head and the upper parts, I guess. And the other person goes in between the feet. So it's like the person who's lying down is like lying with open arms, and legs are open, and the person who's at the end, they're like interlocked. So it's like, you know, if somebody comes on, sits on top of me, but then lies down. So it's like that, having that connection, and then the person at the top, at the front, he's like sitting like this and holding the head here. So she starts the music, and she asks everybody, what intention do you want to plant into your womb? So people choose an intention, and then the person at the top and at the bottom, they both they focus on the intention, and they take the intention, and one puts it in the head, one puts it in the belly, and it's very subtle, very, very subtle, but you feel it. You feel something shifting, and then as the music starts, it's like what was it? It was very beautiful music. It was Magdalene activation codes or something like that. It was there were different sounds, but it was very like ritualistic kind of music. Very very, I don't want to say magical, but very like almost like a sacred ritual kind of sphere that was created, ambience, in my own experience. Very, very, very like womanly like, and also very very deep, very like, whoa, this goes so deep into the feminine energy, goes to the root. And so then the people are instructed to just allow the energy to flow. So the first time that I was doing it, I was at the back, so I was like just putting my hands on the like this, and just sometimes keeping hands. Sometimes you can put the hand here, but you have to ask the person, is that okay for you or not okay for you, forehand. And yeah, just allowing the energy to flow and allowing the energy to move. And the same with the person who's working with the head. And there's like this connection that occurs where we're both, all three of us together in this very harmonious inter-exchange of flow of energy. It's actually really beautiful. It feels so dear, so precious. I feel like a mother or a father. You feel really like you're taking care of that being. That's how I felt. And at a certain point, the people, right, the facilitators, they come around, and one guy is working with these bowls of music. So he's using like these kind of bowls, but like very big ones, where it's like. So he's putting these on your body. It's like letting it ring, and goes really like so thoroughly through you, like the vibration really, like, for me it felt like a very deep cleansing or attunement. It was like feeling every cell in my body and noticing everything that was either at a certain frequency or not at a certain frequency. It was very, it was like a diagnostic tool, just feeling like, whew, seeing the whole thing, like a radar, like sonar, like the bats have or the submarines have, like. It's very beautiful. Also very harmonizing. You just feel like this dissolvement into the sound, this dissolvement into beingness, and very absorbing. And then the woman, who's the primary facilitator, she comes and she works on you. And the first time that she came, I had not expected it. I had done a lot of camp sessions, done 20 something sessions by then, or 20, 30 maybe, 20. And she came to me, and I thought she was gonna work with the person in front of me because I was like doing the whole thing. She started to just do this. And it's very subtle. I was like, okay, she's rubbing me. Okay, rubbing me. And then like the movement started to go from up to down. like, it became like she kept rubbing up and down, up and down, up and down. And all of a sudden, I felt like this huge energy appear, like, holy shit. And there was like, my body was like starting to move. And I was having my own experience. I was like, holy fuck, like, I did not expect this to happen now. I thought it was like, and then I was having like sounds coming. And I was going to this space where there was like this deep sadness. And I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry so badly. But there was a resistance to crying. There was a resistance to allowing that sadness to be felt, embodied, and expressed, and yeah, because I was just holding it in until I couldn't hold it in anymore, and then I just let it out. But here I could feel it just wanted to be given the free reins to express, to cry. And I felt the energy just stream through me, but I couldn't allow myself to cry. And this guy, her partner, came to me, and he felt that I was like, there was this sadness, but it wasn't coming out. It was the first time that I noticed what body work can do. So he took me and he hugged me. He hugged me a very dear way. And then he started to do something that was very like new to me. He started to use his body to communicate in a non-verbally way with my body. So he was like moving a certain way, breathing in a certain way, and my body started to loosen because it felt like it's safe. His energy is safe. It's safe to relax, to give in to him completely. And I was so grateful for that, because I was like, just like, body was releasing more and more into it. And I started to like cringe up a little bit and almost wanted to cry still. Didn't cry fully, but there was just like this relief, this sigh of like, like it was coming out little by little, like little by little. And he was just working with it, like kept massaging my body, kept loosening my body up through this body massage. It was so beautiful. I was like, holy moly, I want to learn what he's doing, because this is amazing. Like to be able to work, to communicate in that way, and to really like connect on a nonverbal level with the body, and allow the body to trust and to surrender and to connect. What a gift. So that passed. I thought like, okay, that was intense. And then I had to lay down. So intuitively I felt. So I was going with my partner, and there was another woman with us that was working. So intuitively I felt like, yeah, I can choose my partner to be here. But I was like, no, I want her. I said it immediately. And so she was like, okay. So I laid down. They started. I felt like the intentions coming in. I felt like very subtle energy. My intention was coming back into my warmth, or connecting to my warmth, my aliveness, something like that. I don't remember. And then she started to move the hands, and I felt like this sweet, gentle energy, like caressing me, taking care of me, nurturing me. And then the guy with the bowls came, solving. My body started to shake a little bit. A couple of movements, and then the woman came. When the woman came and she started to do things, I don't remember what she did, but I know she was using like some kind of talisman or amulets, like Egyptian-like structures. I don't remember exactly, but I remember seeing it. I don't remember if she used it on me, how she used it, but I remember when she was working with me, my body started to scream so loud, like at the top of my voice, and it kept coming like waves. And I started to see images, started to see pictures, started to feel the pain again, realizing there's a block to feel the pain, to cry. I felt so deep. It was like I was taken to the well, to the bottom of the pain. Like I was always here on the surface, and whenever I felt the pain, I was like, oh, I want to stay at top of it. I don't want to face it. Oh, I want to stay at top of it. I don't want to. You want to float above it, and I was like going like straight to the bottom of it. Was super intense, and yeah. But I felt the whole time so safe, from the top and from the bottom. It was so beautiful. It was so opening. I had, of course, expectations. I was like, okay, now my inner womb, my Hara is going to be so active, and I'll have all these, connections, or this new energy or whatever. But honestly, after the session we shared, and my partner, she realized there and then that like after the session, she was crying when she had to choose a partner. I was like, you should choose her. She was like, no, I want you. And I was like, no, you should really choose her. And she was like, no, I want you. But I felt like, I don't know, I didn't know, but I felt like I needed to be on top and she needed to be on the bottom. But yeah, she chose me, and she had her own experience, and afterwards she hugged me. Like at the end, you get up and you hug each other like 3 people together. Like I'm hugging, and somebody behind me is also like coming into the hug, and there was just this togetherness. And my wife, my partner, she was crying, and yeah, just so much tears coming. And I was like looking at her. I didn't know why. I didn't know. I was like just caressing, being with her. And then she was going through the pain, through these tears. And afterwards, like a couple of days or weeks afterwards, she told me, she's like, I let you go there. That's where I let you go. Where I felt that our story was done, that our time together was done. And I was just, crying it out that it was over, that we were done. This is how I remember it. Maybe it was a bit different, but that's how it is in my memory. And then afterwards, I haven't gone to a CAP session for a month or something, because after that experience, I felt so emotionally like vulnerable and so like shaken. It was so deep. I was so exhausted. I was like, I don't want to do any energetic work for some while, because this really went to like to here. So I'm really excited to see what the second thing will be like. The second session will be like. So sometime soon, I will make a new video. But what happened afterwards, when I did one of my first CAP sessions afterwards, was like I did see. All of a sudden, I was in a CAP session. I was seeing a vision, and I would see that inner womb awakening ceremony ritual, and I would see like beings, like flashes of beings that were there, and I would see how there were like all kinds of energy cords attached to me there, and I would see how an energy would like start to cut all the cords that were like to me, that was like all being cut. And it was like something, like somehow in the CAP, it was like something was cut, or something was processed, or something was released, or something happened. I don't know what, but there was like a new movement of energy, and it went back to that moment, and there was a shift. And after that shift, I was like, okay, like, and my partner, she also told me, she was like, there was a heaviness that she felt for weeks after that. So yeah, everything that I said is just my subjective experience. So like I cannot emphasize that enough. Like the more and more that I do, the more and more that I'm involved in processes, in a way I feel so responsible to share things and to always mention that it's my subjective experience, because, you know, people, they can get triggered, they can get inspired, they can get ideas. But what if I'm wrong? What if what I say is wrong, or it's a projection, or there's no clarity in it, or it's distorted? Like, there's this feeling in me, like, I don't want people to take information from me and then make wrong choices, or be inspired by something, yeah, by something that I did, or something that happened with me, and then if they would have a negative impact on that. There's like this big thing for me inside that's occurring now. But I do realize that, like, I just have to trust to express myself fully as I am, to share my truth, to be as transparent as I can be, and trust that every person is gonna get whatever they're supposed to get. So if they're not supposed to get something from me, they're not gonna get it. If they're supposed to get something, they will get it, but not take like personal responsibility for affecting people in a certain way. Yeah. It also made me think about a video I posted earlier. A video about my experience with facilitating, and how in one facilitation, after the facilitation, there was intercourse with a participant, and it really, like, I really feel that whatever happened, and for me, I didn't want intercourse to happen. I didn't want to use the person. I didn't want to get something out of them. And a friend of mine, she asked me today, like, you know, if you, after a session, right, sat on top of her and tried to kiss her, that would be such a no, right? A big red flag. But when she did that to you, somehow that's okay. And that question stuck with me. Why? Yeah, she's right. Why is that okay? Because the way it was like, we were done with the session and I was going away, and all of a sudden I'm putting my things together. She comes to me, she sits on top of me, and she starts to kiss me. I'm like, we don't have to do anything. Nothing has to happen. I can just, go. And she was like, startled, like, oh, you don't want me? You don't want anything? You don't want to stay? And I smiled, and I just felt in my heart, like, yeah, I want to stay, because I was attracted to her. Like, I didn't mind. Like, honestly, we're in spirituality, and we have spiritual ideas, we have spiritual notions and standards and values and all of that. But honestly, who doesn't like a good fuck? Who doesn't like just a good sexual experience? Who doesn't like that? Right? So I felt there was like chemistry or attraction, and I was like, I want to stay, but do you want to stay? And she was like running away, and I was like, just feel in your heart, do you want to stay? And she's like, yeah, I want you to stay. And I'm like, feel in your heart, do you want to stay or don't you want to stay? Don't you want me to stay? And she was like, she held for a moment, she's like, I want you to stay. And so I stayed, and it happened, and it was done. The moment it was done, I didn't have like any desire or fantasies. I want to do it again. It was just done. It's a beautiful like experience, but that was it. Very passionately, very like, it was all very surrendered, very like a fire that came. It was lit up, and then it faded away. But yeah, I really wonder, like, in the future, should I make a rule to never do that? To, like, I'm somebody who will never do that because this work is too sacred for that, or I should not allow these things to happen in this setting of the work? I don't know yet. I don't know how to, how to structure that. I do know that whatever work is happening, whatever work I'm doing, I'm just open to allow energy to do the work. I'm not doing anything. The energy is doing all the work. I'm just like a vessel. Yeah, a tool or an instrument for the expression of consciousness. But yeah, all that other stuff, I'm not against it, but I can understand that some people will judge me on it. Some people won't, but I mean, obviously, everybody's gonna have an opinion on it, and it all depends. Whatever your opinion you have on it, it all depends on your own values and your own standards and things that you think are important, not important. So it's a reflection of you. It has nothing to do with me. So for me, I don't think that what I did was wrong, but what I do know is that I learned from it that maybe it's a good idea to just, if that would happen again, to say to the person like, look, if you are in a high state now, in a high space, if you're in a whatever, I just want you to take some time for yourself, be alone with yourself, spend time together with yourself. If you really feel like you still want it in a couple of days, in a couple of whatever, yeah, you can reach out to me. And if not, because you know, when you go through these energetic experiences or these deep journeys, in a way, you are being very open. You are being very like, you're falling into trust, into energy, and yeah, you know, when you go out of that state, when you're back to your normal self, you can have like thoughts like, why did I do that? Why didn't I do this? You start to analyze things. You start to analyze what happened, and you start to think like, I'm normally not like this, or I normally shouldn't have done this. It was because of the energy, or it was because of that. Now with me and this woman, that it didn't happen that way. She didn't have any regrets. She didn't say anything about that to me, but I can imagine that it can happen. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna like communicate very clearly that if you're not experienced with energy work, like, just stay in your own process and allow your process to unfold. And if you still feel that that's like something that you want to do, that's active, reach out to me. And just be you. I don't know. I will see how it will unfold, but this is definitely not something that I want to get out of the sessions, or that I feel like I need to get out. Like, sexual experiences are not a high priority in my life right now. What is a high priority in my life? Being into the flow, being my heart, being intimate with life, being involved with life, feeling alive, feeling love, sharing love, connecting with people, and experiencing new things. Enjoy your day, guys.